welcome to another episode of Muay Thai Save Me. If it's your first time tuning in, my name is Kru Neil, and Muay Thai Save Me is about bringing on special guests that, how did they get into Muay Thai, how it's impacted their life in a great way. And today I have two special guests. You guys might remember one of them, Charles. I had him on the show a bit ago. We've had a great relationship for many years now, but I wanted to bring on his fighter, Matt Hermant. Am I pronouncing that last name right?
Yeah, Hermant. That's perfect.
Hermant, okay. And then Matt, welcome to the show. Charles, welcome back to the show. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. But Matt, I really wanted, for maybe those of the audience members that might know who you are but don't really know who you are, I thought it'd be a great way for you to share your story. But tell us, like, who's Matt? Who's Matt, and like, how did you get into Muay Thai? How did you meet Charles?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I started training just kind of casually at a kind of like a fitness gym called Kickboxing Club out in Marina Del Rey.
Oh, okay.
Charles was doing privates there, but we hadn't met really in the beginning. We met, I think I was about 16. I started training when I was about 14.
Okay.
And one day I was skating past because I was a big kind of skater / surfer growing up. And I saw this gym. I was like, you know, it'd be cool to learn how to box, you know, get in shape. I always saw boxers wearing crazy shapes. I was like, yeah, I kind of want to look like some boxers and actually learn how to fight at the same time. So I joined this club, kind of committed myself every day to go from Monday through Friday, right after school, 5 to 7, just 2 hours, doing 1 hour of boxing, 1 hour of kickboxing. So I did that consistently. And eventually...
Where did you get that drive from, though? Did somebody say anything to you, or that was just internal? Like, that was like, I want to do this.
It was just internal, yeah. Just decided to put my head to it and dedicate myself to it and stuck with it.
Okay. And then how long did that go on before you met Charles?
That was about, say, 2 years, because I started when I was 14. I think I met Charles when I was about 16. Or maybe I've seen him in the gym, but we didn't really start communicating.
Until like 16.
Until then, yeah.
Okay. How did you, Charles, how did you guys first start talking? Like, he's kind of seen you along the way in 2 years. What this one day that you guys finally talk, like, what happened? How'd that happen?
I was doing privates with this one cat that was in there, and Matt was hitting the bag. I was like, oh, you guys want to spar? You know, and this kid was like taking, this other guy who was a grown man, he was taking some lessons for a while. And Matt didn't, he was just really raw, but Matt had a lot of heart, and Matt got the better of this guy quite well. And I gave him a few pointers like, hey, man, you should maybe try doing this and that, even though I was coaching the other guy. So Matt did it right away. And then the next time I was in the gym, I was like, hey, do this on the bag, try that might work better. And he just like was a sponge where he just listened and he applied right away. I was like, man, that's hard in coaching for people to listen. But he just took it and did it right away. And I never wanted to train fighters. And I remember, like, I only do privates, and I'm not going to hold for somebody unless I'm getting paid. And I went to him, I was like, here, I'll hold for you for a second. And I held him, and I was like, try this. And he was just a sponge, and I was like, damn. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, this kid picks it up fast, you know? So then I start to, you know, like a little bugger, you know, it's cool.
How did you feel when Charles came up to you that day and was like, after sparring, hey, you should do this, try this? Like, how did it feel when he was like blowing your mind with these little tips that he was giving you?
Yeah, I was loving it. I was like, here's this guy, you know, fighter, knows exactly what he's doing. And I was just training just kind of for the fun of it, but it got to that point where I was doing it for two years, right? 10 hours a week. And I'm like, at this point, either I get serious about it and actually start trying to compete. And if I was going to get to that next level, then I have to be a sponge. I have to listen to what people are telling me. And
love that.
You know, there was no better person than Charles to give me those pointers. And when I saw that opportunity, I was like, of course I'm going to listen to this guy. You know, he's credible.
Yeah. And then Charles, how long did you guys, after this incident, your first meeting together, like, how long of a duration passed where you guys decided, like, hey, let's do a fight together? Like, I'm going to train you.
We started working together for a bit, and I asked him, I was like, you know, you could fight. You have what it takes. You could do it. I was like, do you want to do it? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, I'm not poaching you, you know, because he was working there a little bit, and he was doing this, and I was like, if I'm going to train you, you're not listening to anybody else, you know? And JFM's our family. We love JFM. We're still there. We still, like, train our privates there, you know? I says, like, but if you need to, I say jump, you say how high. You know, I said, you need to listen and not have any other cooks. And he's like, done. I was like, all right, well, how long before you had your first fight, do you think?
After we met?
Yeah. It was not
It
long.
felt fast. Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
really fast. I
It was under
remember-
6 months, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was kind of
Wow.
like ducking it. Like, I think I was 16, turning 17 at
Okay.
the time. I was like, man, I really want to wait until like I turn 18 or something. For some reason, I
Okay.
thought
Yeah.
that was looking back now, I'm like, no, as soon as you can compete,
Yeah.
you should definitely get that experience
Yeah.
in because that
Yeah.
goes a long way. Now looking back, I'm like, I should have. As soon as I turned, 15, obviously I didn't know Charles back then.
Do you think it was like a little bit of a reserve because you had never done it before and it is fighting?
Mm-hmm.
Was that a bit of maybe I should wait till I'm 18?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because
It felt like-
our brains make like weird excuses sometimes in our heads to make it a valid reason of why we don't do something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like that looking back like that was probably the bit of fear?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's something where maybe you don't feel like you're gonna have that strength or that like you're fully developed just yet. So you feel like maybe I should wait until I'm fully developed. But
Yeah.
I think I kind of hindered myself in that aspect where
Okay.
I should have done it as soon as possible.
Okay.
But yeah.
But you did it at 17.
I did it at 17. That was my first fight, and
Where
I
was
remember-
that at? Where
We
was
went
that
up
at?
to, I told him, so I was like, all right, we're going to get a fight. I was like, you're going to do it like I did because I fought like a 30-year-old my first time, like we said last time. And I was like, you're going to, down here this time, and I still, when they had the first few fights, you had to fight with shin guards and headgear. I was like, you ain't fighting with gear. And I was like, you're going to get like no shin guards, and we're going to try to get somebody that's like a little older. So we got him to fight a 22-year-old. He was the nephew of the promoter. So we
Okay.
knew we were definitely B-side,
Nice.
And they were great people. We got to fight it in Seattle. And I was like, yeah, you're fighting bare shin. You're going to do the deal. It's going to be good. And he's like, okay. So we had a few other friends who were on the card too. And we started training. He trained his ass off. He did everything I told him to do. He listened, and it was great. We went up there, and it was a funny time. This like good memories of your first fight.
Yeah.
Went to going out of state where like you definitely have like got to win.
Yeah.
And but he had no pressure to sell tickets. He didn't have to be exposed to all that like kind of BS that you have to do. Like you're a fighter, in my opinion. You show up, you fight. You shouldn't have to worry about selling tickets. Just be the quality of the fighter, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
And he went down there and he performed. He fought this kid. It was like his third fight. And Matt, I remember when I was in there, I was questioning myself because I've cornered fights since I was 15,
Yeah.
But I was like, holy shit, like I'm responsible for this little bugger,
Yeah,
I was like, I hope I did everything right, because
Yeah.
I was always number two. I was never like number one. And I remember it started off like this other kid came out and they were banging right away. And I was like, 1, 2, straight punches, go, straight punches. It was so funny. Then he started to pick it up and it started to work, and I was just like, he dominated that fight. They gave it to Matt by split, but it was a very one-sided. Like that old boy was tough. You know what I mean? Like it was a really good test. It was not an easy first fight.
Yeah,
The kid had like doubles the experience.
Yeah.
And Matt went there and performed, and he just, he whooped ass.
How did you feel, Matt, like knowing like, shoot, I'm gonna fight a dude that has way more fights than me? Like, how did you feel going into that?
I think I was terrified.
Yeah.
In the beginning, like you, as a fighter, you build up this image of your opponent to be this big bad monster every time, and then once you get in there, it's like I'm in here, so it's either fight or get your ass kicked. So you kind of make that switch, and maybe not everybody can do it, but it's something you have to turn on once you're in there because you can't run around. You're gonna get caught.
Absolutely.
So-
Absolutely.
I was just told myself, all right, I'm gonna go in there, give it everything I got. Whatever happens.
Happens. And then you get the victory.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
That was
You beat an older guy, right? At 17 years old, you beat an older guy with more experience. You were probably on top of the world, right?
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Till the adrenaline came off, and I was like, "Oh, my ankle really hurts."
Oh, yeah.
But no, it was a great experience. I mean, I remember my mom came up to the ring. My brother was there.
Yeah.
I really wanted to impress my brother. My brother's always been the more athletic one. I wanted to impress Charles. He made
Yeah.
a big impression on me. So it was good to be able to fly all the way to Seattle and make sure it wasn't for nothing, right? If I would have lost, I think it would have been a very shitty experience.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas, I flew all the way to this other state, got the win, made my brother proud, my mom proud. My mom was in tears. She's always,
That's cool.
it's always hard to see your mom like that every time, but like I always try to assure her, like, I'm gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Nice.
So being able to make everybody proud, that's like one of the bigger things for me.
I love that. Charles, how did you feel? First time bringing a fighter.
Oh, I felt
he
on-
freaking dominates. It's like,
Yeah,
how,
it was-
how do you feel?
It was so funny because I was so charged up. I was literally jumping over the rings in between rounds. It was really funny. I was super proud, but Then I had to corner 2 more fighters. The end of the night, I had like a little meltdown because I remember I was jumping over these corners.
Oh shit.
And we were like going to this restaurant after. I was like, "Whoa, that's cold!" And thank God, and thank God that there was like, I don't think anybody. I've never seen any pictures, but I ripped the back of my pants and I was going commando.
Oh no.
And my ass was hanging out, and I remember like I was like in there. I was like these ring card girls looking at me. I was like, "Hey, what's up?" I was like, "It's all right." And then afterwards, I got there. I was like, oh my God, you know, that was pretty funny. But luckily, I haven't seen anything, so you know,
Okay.
yeah. But it was a great experience. Other than that,
Yeah.
yeah.
And after this, you're traveling back. Like, what's next? What's next for Matt now?
I mean, I was still in high school. I was a senior at the time, so I went back to school with my medal, wore it all day to the classes.
Nice.
I was trying to show it off.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of like, what's next, you know?
And I was always like really pushing Matt because I fought so much, you know. And Matt was just kind of getting into it, and he was like, I don't know if I want to fight that much, you know. But he would have a fight here and there, and like his second fight, put a clinic on this like clinch this kid.
Where did he fight for a second?
Second fight was for the IFS.
Oh, okay.
And then we're like, you know, again, like I think I have some credit as a fighter, but like I don't have a gym. You know what I mean? And I was all independent, so I think a lot of people were just kind of like, oh, you know what I mean, like.
Kind of like writing you off already because you don't have a gym. Right?
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I didn't have a gym either. You know what I mean? Like, and we had like really scrounge for sparring for Matt too. You know, it was tough. It was not an easy way to do it. But I remember when we fought a pretty well-known gym. You know what I mean? They're pretty good, and Matt went there and did a really good job, and it was awesome. He just won another good unanimous decision, and he's grinded out. Matt, like, he really, I'll put him through it. You know, but he will work in there where I know like. He is never going to get tired. And Matt does, like, when he fights, it's like, it's kill or be killed. And so he's like a little, like, even in sparring, he's like, you know, it's like constant pressure, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And he's a very technical, like I trained him, he's a very technical fighter too, you know, but it's like that, what I was taught from Rob, you know what I mean? Like this, like high level basics, you know?
And for people that don't know Rob Common.
Yeah.
Rob Common, for those of you listening, if you guys don't know who he is, you need to YouTube him. Known for leg kicks.
Yeah.
Crazy. Like
Mr. Low Kick.
He's so good. So check it out, guys. With the, he dominates, all right? How do you feel now after the second fight?
Yeah, second fight, I was like, all right, this was cool too.
Okay.
But still, every time I'm like, I can't seem to shake the nerves. I'm like, is this gonna happen every time? Does it ever get better? But I think for me, it was never really a fear of getting hurt. It's always a fear of like not showing up. And kind of letting the people that came out to support you down. So that was always on the back of my mind. I'm like,
same, it never goes away.
You know, the less you do it, the less exposure you have to those feelings, right? And so you kind of shelter yourself. But it was good that Charles was there to be like, all right, now you're good. Like, get out there and get that experience. And so. And
I think that's what's huge too, is when you have a trainer, a teacher who actually has fight experience. They know what's going on in your head. They understand the emotions, right? You understand the emotions of a fighter and some of the thoughts that might go in his or her mind, and you can help like guide them and steer them and, you know, shift them back into perspective. You know, I always just say it's very important that a fighter is very open with their trainer, right? Don't hold anything back. Tell them how you're feeling. Tell them what you're thinking. And then now the coach can help like shift you and change you in to the person you need to be. Matt, for real quick before I go into my next questions, can we talk about some of your accomplishments though? Like I want to make sure people understand who Matt Hermant is and how awesome of a fighter you are. But I know from what Charles has said, he was ranked #1 in the nation.
He's well, will you tell him something. Come on, old boy. tell him about yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm bad at promoting myself, but I would say, according to the IKF, ranked #1 in the world
for 3 years straight.
3 years straight.
Wow.
Yeah. And got my first Cali title back in 2017.
Okay.
California state champion.
Yep.
Wow.
California state champion by the also IKF, right?
He's a 2-time national champion.
Yep. Okay. That was in 2019. That was my first national championship.
Wow. Where was that fight at?
Burbank.
Burbank, okay.
Burbank.
Yep.
Okay.
And the first one was against Jake, remember, for the California state title?
Yes. Okay, cool. So that was in Burbank. And the second one in 2019, where was that at?
Burbank. That was also Burbank.
Okay.
And then after that,
You're also a 2-time Cali promotional champion too.
Yeah.
So he's a 5-time champion. He's #1 in the world for 3 years straight.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Such a humble guy.
I know, and that's one thing I've
Yeah.
always appreciated about Matt. And people that don't know me and Charles, we've known each other for several years now. And it's funny, we talked about it in the last episode, but back then, I had a fighter who was matched up to fight Charles's guy Matt, and I think it was at the Bicycle Club Casino,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Bicycle Club Casino. I'd never seen Charles before in my life, and we fight. And I remember it should have been a unanimous decision for Matt, but they said split decision. And I was like, dude, my guy got beat up. Like, who got that? And I remember, congratulating you guys and mentioning to you that, hey man, you guys won by unanimous decision. That was not a split decision. And you were just kind of taken back by that. And sure enough, me and Charles were just like, we clicked and we just started chatting and then we became friends and we ended up working together for like a year.
Then they had a rematch and they fought again,
That's right.
I remember everyone was like, man, is it normal for you guys to be all chum like that? Because we're making jokes like, oh, see you after, same place, same time, you bet. Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah.
So then they fought again too. They fought again for, was that a national title you guys fought for?
that was the California State.
Oh, that was the California State title, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the second, the rematch.
See, and that was the cool thing too, because it just shows the characters of us, right? I mean, we were able to be professional with the fighting, but that's just business.
Yeah.
After that, it's like we're friends. We're all lovey-dovey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Same. My mindset is same for fighting. Like, some people will think like, oh man, do you hate this person? Like, no, dude, this is all business.
Yeah.
It's all business. I have bad intentions when they go in there,
Yeah, you have
but
to.
it's all business. I have no, like I respect most of the guys I fought, almost every single one of them,
Wow.
So like it's it's all business.
Nice.
Which one didn't you respect?
No.
Matt, how did you feel when you went? Let's take you back to 2017. You get your first title. Like, what's going through your mind right now? It's getting wrapped around your waist. Like, what is going on through your mind right now? You've worked so hard. Charles has been pushing you, and you're constantly winning. You get this title shot. Actually, let me ask you, how many fights did you have leading up to your first title?
I think that was my 5th fight.
Wow.
Was it really?
I think so.
Wow.
No, it was because you fought Dane on your 5th fight. Dane was your 5th
Dane
fight,
was my
yeah.
6th one.
But Matt actually took a little break before that fight, and that was his first fight back in like, what was it, 2 years?
Oh, shoot.
Something like that, because you took a
About
break.
a year
It was
and a half.
A year and a half.
Okay.
And he was just like, man, he was just kind of figuring life out, and he's like, I'm not sure if I want to fight right now and all this, and took some time off, and then he came back, and he had I can't remember. I think you had a fight before him, or I can't remember, but it might have been your first fight back, first or second fight back, and it was good. You know what I mean? It was good.
I think it was probably first fight back.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So what's going on through your mind right now? It's the belt's being wrapped around your waist. What's going on through your mind right now?
Yeah, so back in France, I have a cousin. So my parents are French, so I have all my family's over there in France, and he did some amateur, and he was a champion in Marseille. So I was like, that was kind of always a goal of mine too, to be another champion in the family.
Okay.
And so finally getting that belt wrapped around me, I'm like, I finally did it. Like, I am the champion. Like, Charles has been telling me, like, you're a champion this whole time, and I just keep doubting myself, like, am I really? And then once you get that belt around, you're like, okay, yes, I am.
Yeah.
All that hard work paid off, and everybody's even more proud now.
What's funny is I see the resemblance of like Customato. He would say that to Tyson. Before he was champ, he's like, you're the champ. And Tyson would have those, I don't know, I don't think I am. It's a very cool correlation there. I like that. That was cool. I thought I would just shout that out,
Thanks.
Full comparison.
Yeah,
But-
I think part of mine was like, because when it came down here, Rob was such a gift for all he taught me.
Yeah.
But he'd be in and out of town, so I have to train with a lot of people and whatnot. You were awesome. We had a great thing, and you were an amazing coach, and so was Daniel. And I trained with a lot of guys where it just was like, it was just wasn't consistent, And I always had those feelings too, but I had to kind of tell myself those things, and be like, yeah, I'm bad. I'm a bad mother effer, you know what I mean? Like, and you got this, and like you always deal with those things. but I know the emotions he's going through. So before a fight, like, and you actually helped me corner Matt.
Yes.
And you see, like, man, I know how to get in his head and pump him up and make him feel like he is
a superstar.
Yeah, that superstar, because you are. You know what I mean? You know.
I love that. And let's go. I'm gonna bring that question to you. How did you feel seeing him get that belt wrapped around his waist?
I knew, like, I'm not trying to be arrogant, but I knew that I knew it was gonna happen. You know, I was super proud of him because I know the potential he has, and he just works his ass off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, good.
Yeah.
That's where it should be, you know. But like, I also was just like, all right, he's a lot more than the California state champ, because I've seen like quality of amateur fighters, and he fights at a very high level.
Yes, he does. You really do, Matt. You really do. How did you feel when you first start hearing Charles like talk in your ear, like, you're the champ, you know, right? You said you were kind of doubting yourself, but what happened to you where you're just like, you accepted it, right? You said you got the title, and that's where you're like, oh shoot, I am the champ.
Yeah.
But moving forward, like I always say, becoming champ's easy. Staying champ is hard.
Yeah.
And you stayed #1 ranked for 3 years in a row. How did you stay motivated for that?
Going back, so my third fight actually took a loss, you know. It was a split decision. I thought I did enough in that fight to win it, but clearly the judges saw it differently.
Okay.
So from then on, I just always made a point, like, every time I commit myself to going into the ring, I'm not going to settle for good enough. I'm going to go and give everything that I got in that fight. You know, otherwise, what am I showing up for? And so even though I doubted myself, the fact that I committed to it, I just told myself, if I'm going in there, I'm going 100%. I'm not doing 50. I'm not doing just enough. I'm going balls out, right? Just committed.
Okay.
And I learned something from that fight too, because I thought Matt did enough to win that fight too, but when I'm pretty like pretty intense when I coach, but I never like lose my shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always, this is the game plan, this is what you're gonna do. But in that fight, I was very like, that was a close round. You got it. You just need to push it a little more. You just need to push a little more. And now I'm like, dude, you're not from a gym, brother. You know what I mean? Like, you need to freaking maul this effort away, like get a win. You know what I mean? You need to push this sucker. You know what I mean? You need to be dominant. And like after that, I was like, going to the last round, I was like, yeah, this needs a little more out of you, man. I just need a little more. And after that, it's like, I'm like, okay, mother effer, I'll slap you. You know what I mean? Like, you better go out there, because like Glenn, he would slap me. You know what I mean? If we were in like another spot, or even our rounds, you know, like he was like very much like, and Rob was like that too. Yeah. And now I kind of was like, all right, you know what I mean? Like, because I was like, you know, he's like he's 17. I don't want to be like, you know,
like
breaking,
overbearing or something, right?
But like even some other fights where he was clearly winning, I was like, you want this title? Show me one. I was like, I want a knockout. I want you to get in there. I want you to be mean. You know what I mean? Yeah. And before every fight too, like, you know, we have a couple great pictures where Matt will be like looking down there. I'm like talking to his ear, and I will say some rank shit before a fight. I will get him pumped up, but I'll be on there like, be smart, game plan. I'll just go over the game plan like several times. I was like, that doesn't work. Plan B, plan, you know, next plan after that. Then I'll say like, be smart, be first, be ruthless. I'm always like, be freaking ruthless, be mean, you know? Because once I touch that glove, it's not like, oh, play with your shorts. Like, mother effer, it's a fight. You know, crack that mother effer. You know what I mean? Like, let him know. Let him feel that pressure. Whack, you know?
That's something, I think I've helped you in the corner with Matt, like I think 2 times,
yeah, 2 times,
right?
2 times.
2 times.
Yeah.
And I remember both times, that was exactly what I saw in every fight that I helped you with. Like, you were just, and one thing I love about Matt too is he's so coachable.
Yeah,
he's
he listens.
So coachable. Like, I remember I wanted to be respectful. I didn't want to say nothing, but you looked at me in the corner. Do you have anything to say? And I'm like, yeah, I gave it. And then Matt used it, and I'm like, holy crap, look at this. You know, so it was really cool. It was great working with you guys. I know me and Charles had that great relationship too. Yeah, a lot of people forget, like, because it was such a short period, you know.
Yeah, we got North American, and then we got a WBC out of there. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was a good time. Good time, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In our last fight too, Matt's last fight, it was, you know, fought a really good guy. You know, respect to that kid. He was a good fighter. But we were told it was supposed to be for that world title, you know, and we were told that for a long time.
Shoot.
And when we agreed to it, it's like, oh, there's no more world title. And Matt was just like, I don't want to do this now. You know what I mean? And I was just almost like, I don't blame you. But then we got a lot of words like, oh, everybody thinks you're going to be scared. You know, like Matt's stuck in this kid, this and that, you know? And I was just like, that's what they're saying. So Matt's like, all right, let's dance. That's what they want to think. That's what they want to think, you know? And then even after that, like a lot of, like, because the Muay Thai community is so small, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, this guy's he's going to run through Matt and whatnot. And I was just like, in my head, I was like, all right, and I was like,
Yeah, it's like for those people that were saying that, obviously I've never seen Matt fight because I knew there was gonna be a tough fight, but I also believed in you too, Matt. Once Charles told me like, hey, can you help me in the corner? He's fighting such and such. I'm like, oh yeah. I was like, Matt's got this.
Yeah.
The dude's tough, but I was like, Matt's way more technical.
Matt won every single round.
Every single round.
Yeah, every single round. Yeah, and that was good. It had you, Daniel was there too.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was a fun night, you know?
Lots of laughs. Lots of laughs.
You know, but that was
celebrations.
Yeah.
That was awesome. You know, like that was a performance for an amateur fight.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Damn, banger. You know, they all got a treat and they got their money's worth, you know?
Sure. Matt, when you got that win, how did you feel? Was that like a big fuck you guys for doubting? Like was there any bit of that going on in your head?
Do you mind me?
Go ahead.
Oh, I love it.
No, it's all right.
Let's hear it.
We were both like I've never, because I'm always really respectful, but I was like, you know, I was like, you remember, I was like, fuck yeah, you know what I mean? But also I was just like, what a waste. You know what I mean? What an absolute waste of time. Yeah. Because this should be not some friggin' US title. It was supposed to be a world title for a long time. And I was just like, you know, okay, he's already got one of those. You know, part of me almost thinks like, who cares what people are saying? Because I knew, like, you know, anybody that knows know what the outcome was going to be. Should have gone, because we could have gone in that time to Canada and gotten Matt like a legitimate world title.
Okay.
Waste, almost a waste. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So part of me is like, I should have put our egos aside and managed it better and got Matt what he deserves. You know. So we were both super happy about it and all that, but who cares? I mean, like. You know, Matt never got really any love for that or any love out, you know, for a lot of his fights, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's a waste of time. Who cares? You know what I mean? But it was awesome. It was still great, you know what I mean?
That's right.
Yeah.
Great performance.
Great performance. And it was an awesome fight. Probably like one of the better amateur fights I've ever seen. You know what I mean? Like everybody who bought a ticket, they all won. And the other kid was a tough kid, you know what I mean? Like, and a really good fighter. Yeah. So that was cool. But I think as a coach and a managing Matt, I screwed up where I should have been like, who cares? I know what my fighter does. Like, go take him to where he could have gotten that, like, that world title, you know? Because Matt's had that #1 spot forever, but, you know, doesn't have that title, which he deserves, you know?
Well, I want to go into that too. A lot of people that maybe don't know Charles and Matt, but he's the only fighter you still only train.
Only one.
You will not take.
No, not interested.
Why is that?
I'm a fighter. You know, I'm a fighter, and like I take pride in I'm a very technical coach, but my fighting comes first. And then when I do put my time to Matt, like I put it in like he is freaking Floyd Mayweather. You know what I mean? Like I'm all about that, and I don't want to. And also, like I got so many other things going on in my life. And Matt's just like, he's not my fighter. He's my, like, you know, for the longest time, like he's like, you know, I'm way older. I mean, I'm not way older, but I'm not that much older. But I've looked at Matt like he's my son and my brother in one. You know what I mean? It's not just in the gym. I've taught the kid how to shoot guns. I've taught him how to ride horses. I've taken him up to see my family and like up into the mountains off grid. You know, we've done that. Like we did like 3 years in a row. You know, like we are family. You know, we do a lot of stuff together. The way I've spent Christmases at his place, I've spent like, you know, Thanksgivings at his place. It is not like a regular thing, and I'm not interested in experiencing that, because what we have as that, like, we're brothers, we're family, you know what I mean? And like, I love this kid.
Yeah. You could just see it from just your guys' camaraderie, like the way you guys get along, how you guys are in the fights together. Like you could just see the brotherhood there for sure.
Yeah. There's been some kids that Matt fought before, you know what I mean? And they've hit me up and talked to me like, oh, do you train at the fighters? Like, no, I don't, you know, because I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not interested in giving that to somebody else, and would be fair. Like, I'm not going to do that for you, you know what I mean? You know, and like training Matt is like not been easy, as far as like, you know, we like, this is our home now. Like, and Daniel's been so good to us, and we love Daniel. And this is Defiant Gym, you know, he's letting us do the podcast here today. And Daniel's is like family to us. But for the longest time, you know, it was so hard to find sparring for Matt. You know, we'd have some people that would come in and then like they spar with him for a little bit and then they don't show up anymore, you know? And we've had camps where literally couldn't get sparring. You know, we were doing Dutch drills, you know what I mean? and because some people are about it for a second, and then all of a sudden they're not around,
Yeah.
and like we just had to roll with the punches that way. But we have a good home now. But like to get high level sparring from Matt wasn't always easy, But like it was just the journey,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know we kind of talked a lot about like coming from a big gym versus just the two of us and like the pros and cons, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Like
I love that.
I love the fact that we're family. I feel like
Yeah.
he really has my back as opposed to going to a big gym where the person's got like 10 different fighters and to you, you're just who's going to be the next champion of my gym or something like
Exactly.
that. So, but I know it's not always the case, especially in fight communities. There's a lot of attachment that goes on.
Yeah.
But I'm super grateful and blessed that I had the opportunity to do it with somebody that's like my brother.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
love that. I love that. So Charles, I wanted to get your take on this. With social media being a huge platform for everybody right now, especially fighters, what do you think some of the biggest challenges are with social media and the fight game?
I think that social media is cool, but I think that people start praising people that haven't done anything really. They're like influencers, pretty much. There's influencers, people that are giving all these fight recommendations and fight tips, and that's cool, man. That's awesome. But they've never produced a champion. They never really produced any fighters. They've maybe fought a couple like smokers or some taxi cab drivers, but like nothing of great substance. And some of the fight tips are like it's okay, but some of the stuff is just like you watch them move around with some of their students that aren't that good, or they'll do some of these things, and it's like that's not gonna work, People need to go back and look at the legends, like people I admired, and I've been lucky enough. Andre Menard, he cornered me for one of my fights. He was in the corner with Rob. Andre Menard, you don't have to be a great fighter, but I think it depends. You should have gotten there and you should have fought at a decent level. I mean, you should have some fight experience under you. Andre was a 3-time world champion.
Wow.
But Majuro is one of the baddest gyms out there. Like that is murder row right there, and legends upon legends upon legends. And I've watched like a lot of the stuff he does. It's a high level basics, man, But go look at people like that who produced champions, K1 champions, some of the baddest dudes out there. Look what they do. Don't give your power away to these people that are like, Instagram popular and doing flashy stuff. Look at some like a Lucian Carbine, those Rob Common's very first trainer, legend, creator of legends.
Yeah.
Look at those guys, or look at some of the great Thai trainers. Model yourself after those people. Look to those people to look at some fight tips. Don't look at like some of these other people that don't really have a resume. They just really have massive clicks and followings, and that's cool, man. I'm not big into the whole that big world there, but I just think people give their power away and like blow these people up that don't really have a resume, or this is my opinion. Yeah.
And just so we're clear too, let's list your credentials one more time, please.
Titans of Muay Thai champion, Canadian CMTA national Canadian champion, NAMTF North American champion, 2-time IKKC international champion, WBC champion, WBL world champion, IKKC world champion, WKL world champion, WKA world champion, and I'm missing 2 right now because that's 9 titles right there. It was 10 titles. I'm missing 1 right now. Yeah, I'm missing 1.
But we're at 10 or 11.
I'm an 11-time champion, but a 4-time world champion and 4-time world champion and 11-time champion all around.
I love that. I just wanted to make sure everyone understood like the credentials of how you're speaking. It comes from experience as well.
Yeah, and the people like I've trained with, like Rob was, he was my mentor for a long time, and he was the guy that went over and beat a lot of the Thais, and he was a 9-time world champion.
Yeah.
I trained with him, and I got to be around. I got to spar and train with Jerome LeBanner. I got to work with a lot of really good guys, and just see what works at a high level, so that's what I appreciate about those guys, and this breaking down high level basics. I think
people forget about the basics and the foundation, and basic fundamentals. That's what most of the basic fundamentals win our fights. Like sometimes you get a cool spin back elbow knockout, a flying kick or whatever, but predominantly most knockouts occur from basic fundamentals.
Yeah, and like I think that's something that a lot of people everybody likes the really flashy stuff for social media, but man, just go study those guys. Go study some of the people, like find your favorite fighter and find out who his coaches were. And that's the people I think you should be idolizing too, you know?
Love that.
Yeah.
I love that too. Matt, for anybody who might be listening, do you have any tips for somebody who might be a champ right now? They've won the title. Like, what would you give to them advice-wise? Like, how did you stay champ and you won 3 titles? Like, that's tough to do.
5.
5.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. 5. How does one keep that mindset, that drive, that inspiration? Like, I'm gonna get this other belt. You know, I'm gonna stay champ. You're not gonna beat me. Like, what could you share with somebody that might be listening right now?
That's a kind of a good one. I've always thought that, I don't know what got into me that made me kind of get this mindset, but I think just one, knowing you're not a finished product, and that even though you may be the champion, there's always gonna be somebody out there. So always push yourself, because the second that you let off the gas pedal for a little bit, somebody's passing you. So just keeping that in mind and not being full of yourself, right? Being humble, but knowing who you are at the same time, right? Like, I always kind of was always nervous and always had that fear to drive me. But then once I got into the ring, I'm like, I prepared for this. And it's something that Charles would tell me in my ear: you prepared. You sparred with some bad motherfuckers. You've trained really hard. Your gas tank is impeccable. Like, go in there and believe in yourself. So throughout the whole fight camp, I'm doubting myself. I'm like, am I doing enough? But then once I'm in there, my mindset changes from, did I do enough, to I have done enough. I'm the champion. I belong here, and I'm gonna give it everything I got. So if you go into every fight with that mindset, you know, the outcome, it's a fight game. You never know. But you give yourself that winning edge by thinking, I've got this, and I've trained hard. But at the same time, don't kid yourself in the training, right? Otherwise, you're gonna go in with a false sense of hope.
That's right.
Right. So for me, it was like in the training, thinking I've never done enough, and then once I'm in the ring, I have done enough. I belong here.
Love that.
2 different mindsets that are contradictory, but I think necessary in each situation.
Okay, I love that. I love that. Well spoken. Well spoken.
Also, super smart kid, you know?
Absolutely.
Like, how many languages do you speak?
I speak French, I speak Spanish.
Wow. And
English, of course.
Yeah. And he graduated summa cum laude from UCLA. Like, super smart kid, you know?
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Matt, if anyone wants to get a hold of you, where can they find you on Instagram?
So my Instagram is Little Odin, so little the full word, and then ODIN, and that's where they can find me on Instagram.
And then, guys, if you want to know more about Charles too, Charles, where can they find you at on Instagram?
Charles Valhalla Bisset.
All right, you guys heard it. With that said, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm so glad we got to do this, because I wanted Matt's story to be shared, because I know, like Charles said, like, I don't feel like you got enough recognition either for what you've accomplished and who you are as a person, not only a fighter. You know what I mean? So I wanted to definitely do that, you know, just to get your name out there. And I also, before I end this too, I want to give a big shout out to Daniel for allowing us to film this podcast in his gym. Guys, if you are near the Burbank area, check out Defiant Gym. Good people here. I've known Daniel for many years. He'll take good care of you.
Damn right.
Okay, but with that said, guys, that concludes another episode of Muay Thai Save Me. If it's your first time tuning in, just remember, I like to bring on guests that share how Muay Thai has impacted their life in a great way. If you like this video or any other of our content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for next time.